more in tune we are with ourselves, the better our life is going to be from whatever age you start noticing symptoms to beyond. So for those of you that, I think I introduced myself to everyone, but I'm Cheryl Swenson, and I am an integrative health practitioner that is offering holistic health coaching services here in the St. Louis area, as well as menopause coaching services. So it didn't take me long in coaching that I realized that my audience of women that I would be working with and helping in the community, and my client base would be women that were in that 20-year range of probably 10 years younger than me. I'm 46. So when I say that I know what's going on, I have the birth date, 1978, to get me right into that group. So the next certification that I got was a menopause coaching specialist, because I really wanted to tailor my programs to women like you. Okay, when you come to me, I want to be able to say, hey, and the biggest takeaway for tonight is lifestyle. Okay, it's the hardest one to swallow, and it was the hardest one for me to swallow, but your lifestyle is the #1 driver of how intense or how moderate or less severe your symptoms are going to be. And we're going to cover those things. So the nice thing is, a lot of the things that I'm going to tell you are free. Okay, so sometimes we take the free for granted. All right, so does anyone have any questions before I get started about this QR code, the guidebook, anything? Everyone warm? Everyone tried the tea? It was delicious, I already downed it. All right, so who here has been personally victimized after looking at the symptoms by perimenopause? And if you know the movie quote, you're in perimenopause, okay? If you have a checkbook or ever opened a checking account, you're in perimenopause, okay? If you had to go from a cassette to a CD to an MP3 player to Apple or Spotify or some streaming service, you're also in perimenopause, okay? If you ever rubbed a CD on your leg to get the scratches off, you're in perimenopause, right? If your CDs fell out of your car holder on a curb, and, oh wait, I forgot a big one, burn the CD, okay? If you burned a CD, if you got on Kazaa or Napster or whatever those programs were and used your parents' computer almost like to blow it up, you're in perimenopause, okay? I hate to break it to you. There's a lot of jokes out there, and I appreciate them because I think that it helps us understand that we're not alone, all right? Okay, so what we're going to talk about tonight is, first of all, let's talk about what is perimenopause, right? I feel like I didn't even know what this word was. I had never heard about anything except menopause, and all of a sudden perimenopause started being thrown around. And maybe it's just because I entered that age range and my phone heard me talk about my symptoms, and suddenly I was starting to get more information on it. So here's what perimenopause is. It is the transition from menopause into menopause, okay? As women, we are very delicate. Nothing happens overnight. It's just like when we are in puberty and we get our period. Here's something to remember. Just like all of your friends got their period at a different time, had different symptoms, experienced different things, every one of you in this room will experience this transition uniquely. That doesn't mean there's anything wrong with you. That doesn't mean anything. The next thing to think about is pregnancy. Pregnancy is 9 months. Now, obviously, I'm going to tell you how long perimenopause to menopause is, and that's going to make your head explode, but that takes time, right? So our hormones, when it comes to our hormones, anything related to hormones takes time. The transition from perimenopause to menopause is 10 to 15 years. That's why it can start as early as 35 years old. That's why you hear women start talking about how they all of a sudden aren't feeling well. They're doing everything they used to do, and they're 37. I hear this now, and I'm like, you're in perimenopause. You can still be fertile, but it can cause infertility. Look at the list. Look at the symptom checklist. You can still have a baby, but that doesn't mean that your hormones aren't ticking toward that inevitable decline that can happen. We can't stop it. We can't out-supplement, outrun, out anything what's going to happen to us naturally. And that's another thing that I think is really helpful for us women to understand is that we can't stop this. We're not broken. It's okay, regardless of what the media says or whatever. We have a really big thing that we can do in this part. I like to tell people, this is your time in life to just reboot your life. Look back. Just because you did something in your 20s doesn't mean you wouldn't need to go back to that time, because likely what you did in your 20s is impacting you now in your 40s or your late 30s. And that lifestyle and those habits are what is really affecting you. Those workouts, the late nights, the lack of sleep, we're gonna talk about some of this stuff. So that's what we need to abandon. We need to abandon the mindset that I wanna be back at this age. No, if that's what, there was a young girl in here earlier, I'm like, just take care of yourself now. Just because you think you have nothing to worry about, you're gonna get smacked in the face one day and you're gonna be like, yeah, my pants aren't fitting. I feel like crap. I don't know what's going on. My hair is falling out. I have acne. Whatever it is that starts happening, okay? So 10 to 15 years, we can't stop it. And the reason of this decline, what happens is really what's the driver of that symptom checklist, which I actually couldn't even fit all of them on there. That's not even all of them, okay? Is because we need estrogen, testosterone, and progesterone so desperately to feel optimal in our life. And when those start to become dysregulated, when we are regulated, we have natural ups and downs of our hormones through the month. Whenever we're in perimenopause, it is like this, okay? It's all over the place, the hormones are all over the place. It's another reason why there's no test definitive to define that you're in perimenopause, and it's largely driven by a symptom checklist. So the other frustrating thing is that don't expect your doctor to identify that you are in perimenopause. A lot of women end up in multiple specialist offices when they're in perimenopause because they've got this issue, and they've got this issue, and they've got this issue. And I can guarantee you, if you've never seen a list of symptoms related to perimenopause, you're gonna look at that and think, I would never connect these dots together. Heart palpitations with thinning hair, with weight gain, you would never think that's even related. Anxiety, depression, mood swings, rage. I mean, you just feel like you're going nuts. So, I mean, the point of that list is for all of you in this room to recognize that there's a reason you're not feeling well, okay? And there's a lot of things that just happen to us, but there is ways to manage this, and I'm gonna share that with you guys. So, the big one is estrogen. You know, unfortunately, we all in this room have grown up in that time frame whenever that report came out about how bad estrogen is. We've been terrified of estrogen, right? We need estrogen so badly. There's estrogen receptors in nearly every organ in our body. It's why the impact is so broad of when the estrogen declines. Yes, when progesterone declines, so progesterone is great for our mood, our sleep, helps with weight, but so does estrogen, and so does testosterone. The other lack of education we've received is that no one has really told us how much we need testosterone, or even get your levels checked, or anything. So testosterone, that's our feel good, that's our confidence, that's I feel sexy. Yeah, after you read this list, no one's feeling sexy. Honestly, when I was reading this list again today, all of a sudden, I was at a friend's that was watching Lord of the Rings, and Gollum like popped in my head because I was like, thinning hair, bloating, IBS, I mean, falling out, dental problems. I'm like, oh my gosh, like I can't get him out of my head. He is the whole vibe of perimenopause, and it's horrible. And so it's like, no wonder we're depressed and feeling like crap, because it's like, we have also put, as women, we have been held to a standard that is not fair when it comes to body image, when it comes to our bodies, that we have to look a certain way, and then we have to do this, and we have to perform at such a high level, and we have to be at the same level as men and be doing all these things, and all the while it's like all we're doing is setting ourselves up for massive disaster. So even just not thinking that you gotta, and I think that's the one thing, that's the thing that got my attention. All of a sudden I was like, where's this weight coming from? I was like, what's going on here? I'm not eating the cake or the Doritos, but didn't matter what I was doing, so I was ready to eat the cake and the Doritos. I was like, why not? I mean, could exercise, I could do all the things, I could not eat, I can eat, I can do whatever. I was gaining the weight no matter what, okay? And I was like, I get it why people give up, right? And women, we've been tagged with so many things. It's why even talking about these symptoms are so hard to do, because how many times, oh, she's on her period, that's why she's mad. Oh, she must be on her cycle, that's why. We finally set a boundary in our life and not be railroaded, and now we're on our period. I'm like, no, I should have set this boundary 3 years ago, okay? But for whatever reason, society made me think that I should keep saying yes until I'm in the hospital. okay? And then I'm still cooking dinner or still doing whatever, right? So random symptoms, these symptoms seem random, they're not. They can affect our heart, our brain function, our bone integrity, our blood sugar balance. Any questions about the symptom checklist? Does anybody have any questions about something they see on there? Yeah.
Well, I was just wondering, what's NAFLD?
Non-alcoholic fatty liver disorder.
Ah, okay.
Big one, okay? People, I hear women all the time in their 40s getting told they have non-alcoholic fatty liver disorder, or disease, sorry. And no one is sharing with them why that is happening. The decline in estrogen, so let me also go back into estrogen really quick. Let's wrap that topic up. Estrogen is protective, it's anti-inflammatory, it's a lubrication hormone. It does so much for us. Like I said, there's receptors in almost every organ in our body. So when it starts to pull back and decline, it's why we can feel like we're short-circuiting, because it's like, oh, I have brain fog. Oh, I have heart palpitations. Oh, I'm gaining weight. Oh, my knee hurts. Oh, my skin is dry. All of a sudden I have a ton of, wrinkles. That was the thing that happened to me. Out of nowhere, my arm was wrinkled. And I was like, I know I'm getting older, but I was like, I haven't been great at sunscreen, but these wrinkles on my arm seem a little extreme. I got tested, I had low estrogen, and I also got my inflammation tested, and I had high inflammation. So, to the question of non-alcoholic fatty liver disorder, estrogen is very protective of the liver. And so it's why insulin resistance can tick up, all of these things, but there's a lot of lifestyle things that we can do. So just because that symptom list is there, that doesn't mean there's no hope, all right? That's not a life sentence of what you're gonna be dealing with until you die, because I can guarantee you might all be like, how do we get to the death part? Because I don't wanna deal with this for the next 30 years. So progesterone, that's our happy mood hormone. It helps us sleep, it supports our thyroid. So think about it, thinning hair, that's a thyroid function when your hair thins. Even dry skin, also thyroid. Even weight gain. So you see how the layers are just there. It's so stacked against us. And when we don't have the proper knowledge, it's very hard to identify. And that's why it's a more systematic approach and integrative approach when you come to this. You can't necessarily pinpoint one specific thing that is shorting out. It's like, look, it's all probably shorting out. So finding those ways to support yourself in all areas. And that's what, when I work with clients, it's an all area approach. I'm not telling you like, oh, you want to lose weight? I'm like, well, tell me about your life. Let's hear about it. Oh, you're doing this, you're getting up, you're pushing yourself beyond your limits, you're doing this, you're eating keto, you're eating carnivore, you're not eating, you're eating a cracker, you're whatever you're doing that you've done since you were 20, you reverted back to because you're trying to lose that weight. Believe me, I did it. Okay. Well, before I knew, it took me a year to figure out what was going on with me. And I go to a holistic health doctor, a functional medicine doctor. I had my levels tested. And she said to me, what's going on with you? I don't know. She's like, you've gained like 15 pounds since the last time you were. I'm like, yeah, I know. I'm like, hello. And I look for it in the blood work. I'm like, it's in here, it's in here. It's not in there. It's not in there, okay? Because you can go in and get your blood work done, and if you still continue that lifestyle that's really driving that issue or not addressing the root cause issues, and we'll talk about some of those. So then you've got, okay, so loss of progesterone, it's linked to increased levels of depression, anxiety, and insomnia. All right, so whenever you're not sleeping, there's a reason, okay, it's not your fault. Testosterone, we need that because we can become depressed feeling, we have increased fatigue, sex drive dips, muscle mass declines. When your muscle mass declines, your insulin resistance goes up. Your muscle is your number one way to tackle insulin resistance because it uses the glucose. So whenever we have good muscle mass on our body, we're burning that glucose. So that's why women of this age abandon the cardio. The cardio is not your friend. You need to get as much muscle on your body as fast as you can and maintain it. And that's why some of this stuff is just so bad for us because it's like all this stuff, I get it, it's happening so fast, okay? Because, like I said to you guys, if I would have known this at 25, then I would have been like, oh, no, I don't need to be out running my 3 miles trying to get that 8-minute mile in. I need to be doing squats and heavy lifting and get that muscle on my body. The first time I did a workout, a strength workout, I almost vomited. And let me tell you, I was the elliptical queen. 45 minutes, sweating my butt off. I'm like, man, I got this. I did not have it. Okay, and that was 12 years ago. And let me just say this, even to that level, working out consistently, the fight to keep that muscle on is real. Okay, so it's like if you aren't constantly working at it. And what I'm gonna say is, I still got struck with the symptoms because I was working out strength training in the morning and I was hitting an intense 40-minute cardio class in the middle of the day. I was insane, okay? But I loved it. I felt great. I was like, yes, I got this. I can do all the hard stuff. My body finally said no. And that's the thing that will happen. You can go fast and furious until all of a sudden the brakes come on. And that's what most of us realize. And what happens is all of a sudden that screeching halt happens, okay? So let me ask this. What are some symptoms that you guys see on here that you either are surprised by, you're experiencing, you had no idea were related to something like this? Anything anybody wants to share? It's a safe place. You can share later. Go ahead, Colette.
Alcohol intolerance.
Yes. Goes back to the liver. So because we lose that protective effects of estrogen, because we start to have, so we become way more sensitive to alcohol. So that's why there's a lot of research on alcohol out there. That's a whole nother topic. But it is an inflammatory. So here's what you want to think about. We're losing that estrogen that is an anti-inflammatory. So it's protecting us from inflammation. Alcohol is all inflammation. Alcohol also destroys our gut. The gut is where our hormones are made. It's very linked to our hormone production. Okay, so that's why you'll start noticing, wow, I feel like crap. I only had 2 glasses of wine when before you were drinking your 1 bottle. I'm not speaking from experience. Right. Maybe 2 bottles. Don't talk to me about COVID, okay? Alcohol delivery was real. Anyway, so thank you for asking that question, Colette. Great question. And that is one that, these are just the symptoms to start noticing of yourself, tracking it and being like, that was weird. Was it weird, or was it just your body trying to tell you something like, hey, I need help. That's not helping you. It's not working. Whenever you drink alcohol and you're jolted out of sleep at 3 a.m. because your liver can't process it anymore, and you're like, you're sweating and you're like, throw the blankets off. So we're going to talk about that a little bit. Okay, so some common symptoms, let's get into that, okay? So the other night I was just blurted out as I'm preparing for this, okay? So my husband has heard the word perimenopause and menopause. He's just like, I don't even know what has happened right now. He's like, and so he's in the other room folding laundry, and I just blurt out, vaginal dryness. And he's like, what? And I go, vaginal dryness. And he goes, you're not gonna say that, are you? And I was like, oh yeah, I'm saying it. I'm saying it. Anyway, the point being is men are so disconnected. They have no idea. Like I've had Josie read some of this stuff and I'm like, babe, look at this, look. Sexy.
Yeah.
I'm dead sexy right now, okay? Anyway, so irregular periods, okay? So this is a thing. They can be shorter, they can be longer, they can be heavier. They can be lighter. Doesn't matter.
They can surprise you.
Anything. They can come out of nowhere. Okay? You can have them, you cannot have them. Okay? So one thing I will say is that if you start to get in that age range where you're about 3 months, where you start to miss your periods, or about 3 years, they've kind of researched it a little. About 3 years, now don't take that as fact because we're all different, from having your last cycle. So that's kind of what they've noticed. Let me also just reiterate the fact that women have not been steady, okay? So while we spend the majority of our life in this phase, it has not been steady. There's very few studies on this. If you search the word menopause in PubMed and you look up something like erectile dysfunction, whoa, massive research, we gotta figure that out. Women, you can look like Gollum for the rest of your life, who cares? We'll get you some sweatpants and a hoodie. So, We got some discounts for you, okay? Oh, you're in here's your sweats. Here's your bun. Here's your comfy shoes. Okay, the hallmark symptom, hot flashes and night sweats. I can't not talk about it because it is the symptom that we've all known. And people start experiencing these. Women in their 20s will experience night sweats and hot flashes because they're having a hormone imbalance. But people write it off, right? They don't talk about it. So 60 to 80% of women, menopausal women, experience hot flashes or night sweats. Night sweats is just a hot flash at night when you're sleeping. Surprise! Anyway, so like don't need our sleep. And that's one thing we're going to talk about is how that impacts our sleep. So this is a vasomotor symptom. A vasomotor symptom, probably can kind of put it together, it's related to blood dilating, the dilation of blood vessels. So what happens when we have a nice hot flash starts up here, starts in the hypothalamus. Starts to get dysregulated because of that. We have estrogen receptors in our brain, starts to get dysregulated because of the estrogen going in and out. It's kind of like plugging a plug in and plugging it out. You know, like that's kind of what's happening inside our body in the different organs, okay? Oh, you got some? No, you don't. No, you got some? You don't. The dilation happens in our brain. It sends a signal. Oh, we need this blood. It, boom, opens the blood vessels and sends the hot flash to you, or flush. In recent years, they're starting to call it a flush because it's not a flash. It's a flush. It's like it's happening. It might last for a few minutes or whatever. It doesn't just happen and go away as a flash, okay? At least they've clarified that. So that part of our brain, the hypothalamus, is our internal thermostat. So whenever it gets dysregulated, it's like, I don't know what's going on. We're hot, we're cold, we're this or that. So that's what happens there. Again, it's leading to that estrogen decline. So the big issue with hot flashes and flushes, although they're bothersome and they might be like, oh, you know, I don't want to be hot, it's horrible, you start sweating, it's embarrassing. Biggest thing about this is that they have been linked to visceral fat gain and an elevated risk of cardiovascular disease. So that's the issue, right? We don't want to have cardiovascular disease. I have a question for you ladies. If I asked you, what is the biggest thing that kills women? Is it breast cancer or is it cardiovascular risks and diseases? Anybody know? Go. Yep, cardiovascular. But what have we been drilled in our head? Get that mammogram. Not go for a walk. Walks are free. So anyway, that's another subject. Okay, so the other thing is sleep disturbances. Of course, they don't know the exact link of why it increases the cardiovascular disease, but think about it. Your sleep's disrupted, your melatonin production is disrupted. Now suddenly, so here's the thing to think about, ladies, when it comes to our sleep. Believe me, I've lived with the mentality, we'll sleep when we die, right? Is that if you get less than 6 hours of sleep, you are as insulin resistant the next day as a type 2 diabetic. So the next time you're binge watching a show at 11:30, hey, I'm only speaking from my own experiences. Know that. The next day when you're like, ooh, I'm hungry. Ooh, I want something salty, I'm snacky. You're not helping yourself. And that has been your whole life, okay? You were insulin resistant as a type 2 diabetic at 25 when you got 4 hours of sleep and went to work. The difference is you had all the other factors helping you to be able to whatever, I'll drink a Diet Coke and eat a Twizzler, I'm good. Because that's what I used to do. These are real stories. This is real life. That's why I said at the outset, ladies, learn from me, okay? It's probably nothing, I've done it all wrong, okay? I was like, anyway. Okay, so there are some amazing ways. Okay, so here's some things. So frequent hot flashes are considered 6 times in a 2-week period. So start tracking. If you are experiencing hot flashes, start tracking them. That's your biggest power move at this age. Track everything that you're dealing with. Track it, write it down, right? It happened here. I ate Raisin Bran, had a hot flash. So got my fiber, also some chemicals, had a hot flash. Okay, so here's some ways to support this though. Okay, chase tree berry is great. It helps us with progesterone. Black cohosh, You guys, I wanna tell you something before you can write down things, but the resource, the guidebook I'm giving you all free tonight has all of this in here, okay? So if you want to, go ahead and scan it and download it. All of this is contained, I'm gonna say it high level, but it's gonna even go deeper in there for all of these things. You guys can go through the symptom list in that guidebook and determine what you're dealing with personally, and then see what can help you. Tiffany and her team have so kindly pulled out some of the amazing things that they have to support women's health. And you can find the reasons why. And then they have a ton of other tea. Maca's great, kava kava's great, black cohosh is great. So fenugreek is another great one, red clover, valerian, St. John's wort. So here's what I would say, there's no like a prescription that you're gonna go out and be like, I magically don't have hot flashes. So finding natural solutions, obviously exercise is really good to keep, to help with hot flashes. If you have hot flashes at night, get the cooling sheets, get your room temperature down to 68 degrees, kick your husband out of the room, take over the house, okay? Lock the doors, change the locks, no I'm kidding, but also change the locks. Anyway, so that was what I was gonna say, that was what I was looking for, Tiffany, earlier. So the guidebook will help you guys understand what you can use naturally, and you can use the symptom checker, and there's a lot of data in there. It's 23 pages. I put this together for you guys. Not just for you, for anyone that takes my course, Perimenopause Unlocked. And tonight you all leave here with a code to get it for free because of coming tonight. Okay, so use the code, download it, get the access to it. It's broke up in a way that you can watch what's important to you. So I'm very much ADD. Each video, I think the longest video is 11 minutes. You don't have to watch hours. Pick what you want. There's nutrition, weight management. It's like the 4 top ones: exercise, sleep, nutrition, and then the guide covers a ton of stuff that I can't, I could go for days on that. So, all right, that's that. Any questions? Any comments? Anything anyone wants to say? Go for it, Jamie. Bring it from the back room.
So, like, what if you have these symptoms and then they go away? Like, because for like the last 2 years, I have crazy hot flashes and now then they've kind of stopped.
Great question.
Like, what happens?
What happens is that somehow your hormones are still in flux, right? So what we were talking about is, so yeah, you could go for periods of time where you're like, oh, I'm not having anything, and then all of a sudden it strikes out of nowhere. Also, things that really impact us is stress. I'm gonna talk about this. This phase of our life, we are super sensitive to stress. So this is why tracking is good. Were you in a stressful part of your life? Was something going on? Did you have to change a job? Did you have a child in school that you're having to help them with homework every single day? And you're like, oh my God, I hate algebra. Whatever it is. So that's why tracking is important, because a question like Jamie has is an excellent question. You may never have another hot flash or night sweat again. I don't know, but it's always important to track it, right?
Sure.
I've been waiting for the hot flashes because I've been somebody that's been cold my whole life because I have had thyroid issues. So I'm like, I'm ready to be warm. Like, I want to be warm. Like, I don't know how warm a hot flash is, but I see women go through it, and I'm like, I don't know if I want to go on a combustible level, but maybe for like a second and then go back down. But thank you for sharing that, Jamie. Great question. Okay, mood swings, anxiety, and depression. This is one that got me. This is the one right here, the weight gain in this. I have had situational depression and anxiety. When I got divorced, obviously, depression, anxiety, all of that kicked in, right? But once that subsided, I was like, okay, well, that's over with. I, out of nowhere, had anxiety that I came home from work, I was at this level every day, all day. Wound up. I walked to that door, I'm like, glass of wine, baby. I gotta calm, my body was like, help me calm down. But what was I doing? Not setting a good, I didn't have a consistent sleep schedule, still exercising because I thought that 30 minutes of feel good was what I needed, which is the last thing I needed for that point in my life. But that anxiety, the depression, I lost motivation to do all the things I love. I literally thought I was going crazy. I was like, and I was embarrassed. I was like, I didn't know, I hadn't heard anyone talk about this stuff, right? And the stigma around these things, it's so frustrating. Because who could you tell, hey, feeling really, really depressed right now. Your super happy friend, the friend that has like looks on the outside that looks like everything's going together, like, sorry, maybe you should go buy yourself something. Girls' Day, spa day. Spa days are gonna do it. So this is the one that I want women to scream from the rooftops, because it is a debilitating thing that happens, and if we don't know why it's happening, it's even scarier, okay? To all of a sudden feel like, I went through an entire month where I didn't do things that were so important to me at all. I couldn't. My husband's like, what about this? I'm like, I got to work today. I can't even think about another thing today. Or this weekend or whatever. It's serious. So being able to understand that about our bodies, again, this is related to that dysregulation in our hormones. When you look at that list, when you think about progesterone being our happy hormone, estrogen supporting our mood, our brain, our cognitive function, and testosterone all crash and burning, it's no wonder out of nowhere you can feel like this. Okay, so you're not alone. If you're feeling those feelings, if you have those feelings, there's some great resources that I have in the resource guidebook. Kava is amazing for this, anxiety, St. John's wort. I take that. So here's the thing, estrogen, let's go back on our friend estrogen that we all love, it regulates the activity of neurotransmitters in our body, such as serotonin, dopamine, and norepinephrine. Okay, these are all linked to depression and mood, all linked to it. So whenever it goes down, so we're not broken, people. This stuff is happening without our even knowing what's going on. So that's what the scary thing is. So there are definite supplements and botanicals, massively supportive, massively supportive. Lifestyle changes though, ladies. Removing the stress, okay? We have tons of stress coming in. We gotta get the stress out, okay? And on that note, we're gonna do a stress exercise right now together that I want you guys to all take with you. Because if you learn one thing tonight, I want you to take away, find the areas in your life that you can get the stress. Stop saying yes to everything. Start setting boundaries. As hard as it is, let's get him in here. Talk about a scary audience. Those guys got nothing on us, okay? Get some rage going. So, okay, we're gonna do this exercise, okay? This is an amazing tool it's a breathing exercise, okay? We're gonna do it together. It's a 4 in, hold for 7, breathe out for 8, like you're blowing out a candle. In through the nose for 4, hold it, and in your breath. A lot of us breathe like this. Okay? That's how we breathe. But we need to breathe. Push out your stomach. Look at mine. Look how pregnant I am. That's just the taquitos I ate. No, didn't eat taquitos today, but it's tomorrow. Anyway, okay, so we're gonna do this together. So everybody in. Hold it for 7. Out for 8. Tiffany, I should have asked for some peppermint for my onion breath before I blew my breath on the audience. So when you practice that, an ideal time to practice it is for 10 minutes. That sounds like a long time, but if you are having anxiety, if you come home and you're tapped out, if you're driving in your car, this is why this resource is so amazing, because it can be done anywhere, okay? So this is the thing, once we feel stress, it's too late. Once you feel anxiety, it's too late. You've already not listened. So then trying to listen, be like, oh, okay, I'll help, I'll drop some kava and this in your mouth. No. If you take a tincture from here tonight, every day, this isn't when you feel stressed. Manage the stress. You're already stressed. I guarantee you, every single person in this room, in your 40s, if you're dealing with one of these symptoms, you're stressed out, okay? So every single day, consistency is one of the biggest things that will help you get your results and help you feel better. And don't forget it, okay? The day you start some tinctures or whatever you decide to get some supplements that I have over there, or whatever you do, write down how you feel that day, because we forget. We forget how bad we feel. In 3 months, you'll be like, oh, my tincture's out, or my supplement's out, my magnesium ran out. I'm feeling good. Yeah, and then all of a sudden 4 or 5 weeks later, you're like, I feel like crap again. Well, you stopped supporting yourself, okay? So keep it up. It's hard. I will say this, as women, we've been conditioned to not take care of ourselves in a lot of the society that we live in, okay? We're last in line to everything, all right? So it is hard to bump yourself to the front, but to feel your best, you gotta do that. So some of these supplements that really help, they're in the guidebook. Black cohosh helps with mood changes. Kava Kava is amazing because it helps with GABA and levels in the brain. Do some research, search GABA, what is that good for? Start informing yourself on what these things can do. It promotes relaxation, is great for anxiety. It's a favorite of mine. I'm already an anxious person, guys. When I got hit with anxiety, I already thought I had anxiety. I didn't know what anxiety was until I had this happen. St. John's wort, they're all amazing. St. John wort, it also is good for hot flashes. So it's also good for a lot of symptoms in this phase of our life. Okay, omega-3s. Ladies, if you take 2 supplements a day, take omega-3s and take your magnesium. And that's all you can do, okay? I'm gonna talk about magnesium. I've got if you guys see this, there's a hormone supplement support stuff in there. Magnesium's on there, read about it. It's responsible for over 300 functions. But omega-3, let me talk about this, because omega-3s are going to be sprinkled about a couple of other things that it's empowered for, okay? It reduces the inflammation in our body. Perimenopause and menopause are inflammatory states. Why do we lose the estrogen? We've gotta work on that inflammation. A lot of these conditions in that symptom checklist are inflammatory, right? All this stuff is from inflammation happening, a lot of these things. So omega-3 helps with emotional and cognitive behaviors during the menopause transition. Studies have shown that up to 2 grams of EPA daily can reduce symptoms of major depression, bipolar disorder, schizophrenia, anxiety, and ADHD. Another issue that women have is that focus. So get your omegas, okay? In fact, Tiffany, can you bring that plate of sardines out?
Yeah, sure.
We got sardines. You can't leave tonight until you eat one of the sardines.
Got some hot sauce?
I'm sure we got something. Get in the employee fridge, Tiffany. Get in the employee fridge. I'm kidding, we don't have that. But, oh, guys, start liking sardines, okay? And if you don't like people, this is a good thing to eat, okay? And then just stay away from it. And then practice the breathing in the grocery store and the lines will clear up, okay? Eat a sardine before you go in, do your breathing in the store. No, sardines are an easy way to get omegas. They are packed with it. If you can eat 1 to 2 sardines 3 times a week, they're small, guys, okay? They're not big. I mean, you can put them with some mayonnaise. However you can get them down, get them in down. Get them with olive oil, wild caught, and eat, go crazy, okay? Just learn how to love them because they are so powerful for your brain function. I'm gonna talk about some other things that they're really good for. All right, sleep disturbances. Any questions on mood or depression, or did you guys find that helpful? Good?
Oh, wait,
Yeah, Stephanie.
so with mood and depression, if you're already on drugs for that stuff.
Yeah.
And then taking other, like, supplements, I know there's some that you shouldn't take.
St. John's wort has contradictions. Absolutely discuss it with your physician. If you want to transition off of something, I would work with somebody that.
Oh, I don't wanna transition.
Okay.
I would lose my mind.
Okay, so how, and that's one thing I meant to say tonight. I'm offering a lot of holistic options. That doesn't mean these are the only options. Each one of you can take this information and decide how you want to manage your symptoms, okay? So Stephanie, thank you for sharing that. I'm not a medical professional, I'm not a doctor. This information is just being provided as educational. I can't give you medical advice. So if you're on a prescription drug, then I would talk to your doctor and just say, hey, I'd like to add this in, or would this be, would there be any, or contradictions with this, or maybe even Tiffany can help, or her staff, they're probably versed in some of that. But I do know St. John's wort specifically contradicts, because I think it's it can help with SSI serotonin uptake. So if you're on an SSI inhibitor, you gotta talk to your doctor.
Yeah, you know way more about than, like, you just put words on, like.
So, but you know what, Sally, here's the thing to that. Look at how to be informed when you go to talk to your doctor. Do so little, it always helps us in this phase of our life to have as much knowledge as we can. However,
Doctors hate that.
they do. The right doctor loves it, first of all. The right doctor loves it and is not challenged by it and appreciates it. That's another thing, get a new doctor. Find a doctor that you can partner with that actually will support any of your solutions. It's why my OB, so I was gonna tell women to go on menopause.org and find your menopause doctor if you wanna go to a doctor. I went on there because I was like looking for somebody I could partner with and tell clients. I see my old OB on there. I was like, well, this is a joke. She's like, she told me to wear a bra to sleep because my breasts were hurting. Not kidding. I wish this is like laughable advice. She literally gave me instruction and demonstrated the tendons that go across this area, and I was exercising and doing cardio and running, and I didn't have a great sports bra, and that was what was causing my insane breast tenderness to where I couldn't walk. She said, wear a bra to bed. Get better sports bras and wear a bra. At this point, later I realized, I'm like, reading other symptoms, I'm like, no blood test was suggested, but guess what? I got vaccinated for pneumonia that time. In case I had a baby. Anyway, so that's a whole nother thing. But find a doctor that partners with you with whatever you want to do. If you want to take medication, but you also want to be holistic or you want to have natural options, get a doctor that's integrative, okay? I actually met with an amazing menopause doctor here in St. Louis. So anybody that wants her name, she's phenomenal. She's a gynecologist. She actually specializes in menopause. She spent 45 minutes with me, and I just went in there to meet with her so I could recommend her. I didn't want to recommend somebody that was invalidating, that I would send a client to and they get told they're too young for menopause or perimenopause, okay? So thank you, Stephanie, for sharing that, and I hope, I can't give you really too much information,
I'm
but
just curious.
yeah, supplementation typically, you still want to check with your doctor on certain things because if they affect blood flow, if they affect, something happens, absolutely check, just to be sure you don't have anything extra or makes matters worse in some way. Okay, sleep. This is a big one, guys. If you work on one thing, so if you take 2 supplements, it's magnesium and omega-3. If you work on one thing tonight, it's working on your sleep. Okay, I want to see raised hands, okay? This is going to be interactive. This is a no judgment zone. Who goes to bed by 9:30? Who goes to bed by 10? 10:30. 11:30. Midnight. Don't know. Fall asleep with the TV on.
Sometimes too.
Okay, so that shows that you have room to improve, okay? The ideal sleep schedule is 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. And the reason why, from 10 to 4, we have the most, the amount of hormones that are produced during that time frame in our night are our human growth hormone, which is our youth hormone. So if you want to look old, ladies, keep the 11:30. You want wrinkles? Watch Netflix. I'll send you my subscription. No, I've been there. Okay, sleep. Once I learned this information, it's still my everyday. I'm like, get in bed. And then too, what happens is when we start feeling better, right? Like when you're feeling like crap, going to bed's easy. You're like, I'll just go get in bed. I feel whatever. But when you start feeling better, you're like, well, I feel great. I don't want to go to bed. I want to stay up and make myself bad again. We get back in that cycle, right? And you're like, no, staying up is fun. So 10 to 2 is where you want to be. You want to be asleep. When there's no night owls, okay? This is another misconception. My ladies here that have done IHP, I'm sure you've heard Dr. Cabral say this. No night owls. If you stay up to 10, what happens around 10 o'clock is that you have, and this was an eye-opener to me. I was like mind blown because I've been a night owl my whole life, okay? If you stay around 10 o'clock, what happens at 10, we naturally have a push of cortisol to detox our bodies because that's what we're supposed to be doing when we sleep, detoxing, okay? So what happens, you get that bump of cortisol, which it's like, boom, now you're awake. So if you're not asleep before that happens, you will struggle and you will be up till 11:30 or 12 because you'll be like, I can't go to sleep now. Now you're awake. Your body is like, okay, well, you want to stay awake? Now we got cortisol going into your veins. But you're not detoxing. You're not getting that, capitalizing on really what the power of that sleep is. So definitely, ladies, you want to get that 7. You already heard me talk about under 6, but you really want to fall in that 7. I see the number 9 written down and I laugh. I'm like, 7 to 9 hours. I'm like, what are we, toddlers? But actually, women need more sleep than men. But I can guarantee you in this room, most of our husbands are getting more sleep than us. Mine is. So that's just the way we are, right? We gotta wake up, we gotta get this done, we gotta do that, we gotta get our day going. And no fault to him, they do what they need to do, right?
Right.
They take it. I gotta sleep. And we're like, yeah, but I should be up doing something and guilting ourselves. Why am I not awake yet? Why am I not doing the laundry? Why am I not emptying the dishwasher? Is that done? Oh my gosh, what is this? And then we can't go back to sleep. Talk to me, everyone text me tonight at 3 a.m.
I'll be with.
Exactly. There is so on that note, let me give you guys some simple tips, okay? If you are somebody that wakes up and starts having anxiety, right? Start stressing, you start, this just head spinning, this conversation you have with somebody, that thing you said, did they hear me? Did they take offense to this? Things that's how I think, okay? Oh, I said no to something, they hate me now. Start telling your things like yourself things like, in that moment, I am safe, I am resilient, I'm capable. Feel your body in the bed. Take your mind, stop yourself, okay? You're gonna have to physically stop those racing thoughts because racing thoughts are also a part of this phase of life. So stop yourself from those things, okay? Start checking in with your body, laying there, like, be like, oh, my fingers, or this or that. But it works, okay? It sounds hocus pocus while I'm doing it up here, okay? But give me a blanket. He didn't want it bad, and a boy didn't want it. Okay, so for our sleep, the reason why this is a big deal, because another thing that we can develop in menopause or perimenopause is sleep apnea. Like we don't have enough going, now we snore. Literally, Gollum is like face of everything. So, sleep complaint is anything from the difficulty falling asleep or the difficulty staying asleep. Let me see here, sorry. Okay, sorry, I misread to another line. I just derailed myself. I was worried about my ability to focus this entire time. That is a problem. Okay, so guys, living off Starbucks for sleep, that is not a glamorous lifestyle and it'll get you really in the gutter. We already talked about the 10 to 6. Does anyone have questions? So things that are really helpful, getting that morning sunshine, exercising, eating 2 to 3 hours before bed. No nighttime snacking. Okay, and alcohol consumption, if you're gonna drink, the farthest away, at least 2 hours stop before you're gonna be in bed. So if you go out and you're gonna have some drinks, set yourself a curfew. Not tonight, but another night. Okay, weight changes, okay? So magnesium is a supplement, obviously, that is amazing for sleep support. Kava is good. There's some other tinctures that are really good for helping your body relax and get into that restful state. Magnesium is one of my favorites, guys. 500 milligrams a day, minimum. We use it up in times of stress. That's why you need it, and no one is taking it typically. You want to get a full magnesium that has multiple magnesiums. There's a lot of magnesium, so not the one that just gives you diarrhea, okay? Because that's another symptom we don't need, right? We don't need, we do irritable bowels on there. Okay, so weight changes. Obviously, with all the things we talked about, doesn't it make sense why we're struggling with weight? All the hormones that we need, the sleep issues. So we're getting woke up, we're being insulin resistant, we're not getting that restful sleep, we're craving sugar the next day. We're getting, so that, what that all leads to is that we have more visceral fat. We have this, so this center section, front and center, starts to develop, okay? So those are all signals. Just because your jeans aren't fitting, there's a bigger issue happening, all right? So it's like, yeah, the jeans not fitting, not fine, but why is it happening? What are my, so that's where you go back to your lifestyle and start checking it and being like, okay, well, what am I doing? And if you're falling victim to some of your old ways or just what you've been ingrained as a woman to do, time to check those. So this is a sad fact. Perimenopause women have a total body fat around 5 to 8. Postmenopausal, 15 to 20%. Big difference. So work on it now, okay? That's 5 to 8, it's a lot more manageable than 15 to 20% visceral fat. Visceral fat is very dangerous because it inflames our tissues, it narrows our blood cells, it gives higher levels of LDL, the bad cholesterol, and it creates insulin resistance. So these factors increase the risk of cardiovascular disease, type 2 diabetes, cognitive impairment, think brain issues, Alzheimer's, like think down the road, right? Maybe you're okay right now, maybe it's just brain fog, maybe it's that, but where is it going? So the easiest way to do this, how do you calculate? Hips, measure your hips to waist ratio. You can look online, they'll show you how to do it, and that will tell you what your risks are. It's an easy, simple way to figure it out, okay? Ways to combat this, because that's what we wanna know, right? Gentle, good exercise that's not so intense, that creates that cortisol spikes, okay? We wanna walk. Weighted vests are great at this phase in our life to help. You can get 10 minutes of walking, if you do nothing, and you walk 10 minutes after each meal, prove it, helps with blood sugar regulation and weight loss. If you could only do that, and if it's not just walking, get on a walking treadmill, get on a lift, move, get your body burning some calories right after that meal. Wait like 20 minutes and then move 10 minutes. Powerful. Walking in general is super powerful. It's a weight bearing exercise. Most everyone can do it. It's no skill. It's free. Okay? Incorporate walking into your life. The other thing is fiber. At least 25 grams of fiber a day. Sounds small? I challenge each one of you to tomorrow, go and see how much fiber you're eating and see what it's like to eat 25 grams of fiber. You're not gonna be very hungry, but drink your water. We don't want you constipated, okay? And speaking of that, constipation is a really big issue. If you are not at least having one bowel movement a day, you are not getting rid of the hormones and all the toxins that your body has worked so hard to get out of your body, and you're reabsorbing them. Reabsorbed estrogen is extremely dangerous. So it's serious. If you aren't having bowel movements, and believe me, I went through a phase in life where I would go like 2 times a week. And I mean, that was in my 20s. I had no idea. I never said anything. Anybody just thought it was normal. No one was telling me it wasn't, right? So, and it's embarrassing. Women don't poop. We don't fart. Make a big fart noise right now. Fart on these weight changes. Okay, also consider your liver health, ladies. Like that's another thing, and that's why muscle is really good, building muscle for that insulin resistance in muscle. And then here, I'm gonna tell you one thing. Drop all the internet searches on the weight loss diets. And tell you one thing to eat, and that's the only thing you need to do. An anti-inflammatory diet. And an anti-inflammatory diet is the Mediterranean diet, okay? Eat that way. You don't need a calorie count. You don't need to eat till you're 80% full. Leave 20% room for your digestive juices. That's it. Whatever the influencers are doing or whatever they're selling, Gymshark or whatever leggings they're selling and they're eating a bean and, whatever they're doing, don't do that, okay? Just eat an anti-inflammatory diet and listen to your body. If you eat something and you get bloated, guess what? That food's not for you. If you puff up the next day and you're like, oh my gosh, my hands are swelling. Inflammation, that's inflammation. So listen to your body. All right, energy and fatigue, guys, this one brought me to almost tears, okay? When I was reading these statistics, this is so astounding to me. A study of 300 women revealed that 46.5% of women in perimenopause are mentally and physically exhausted. In postmenopause, 85.3%, so whenever we're aggravated with our moms. And let's also just give some kudos to that generation. They had nothing. They went through this phase of life with their lips sealed with nothing. No one told them nothing. So when I look at women that are in this age range, it's like, yeah, man, our parents can be frustrating, but man, 85% of fatigue, considering you're fatigued, fatigue is different than just saying I'm tired. Fatigue is like, I can't do anything. It's no wonder we're gaining weight, right? We don't have the energy to eat right. It takes mental energy to not eat the cookie and make the green beans. It's like, well, I'm tired, I'll eat the cookie. I need some sugar anyway. So think about it. When look around this room, I want everyone to take that knowledge with us today and be like kind to each other, okay? These other women that we know and they get on our nerves and we're having our perimenopause rage or irritation. Man, 46, half of you in this room are dealing with fatigue. I mean, just not for sure, I don't know, you can tell me later. Or if you want to share. No. But, so why is this happening? Again, hormonal changes as your body adjusts to the reduction of estrogen and progesterone. as well as the adrenal and thyroid hormones start functioning differently. Our adrenals take over production of our hormones as the ovaries stop working. And these hormones, they regulate our energy usage. The fatigue you're experiencing is real, okay? It's not imagined, you're not crazy. And again, how do we offset this? We're gonna go back to our sleep, we're gonna go back to our exercise. In my course, Perimenopause Unlocked, I encourage all of you, I have an entire module on sleep because that is how important it is, okay? Read it, listen to it, understand it, help yourself with the sleep. And then support your body with the proper nutrients throughout the day. Get tested for deficiencies or toxicities. When our body is toxic, it's sluggish, it's fatigued, it can't function optimally. And then start with the foundations, guys. Start with the foundations, it's simple. Vitamin B, vitamin C, vitamin D, magnesium, and omega-3s. If you take those 5 supplements, if you're not taking anything, you're gonna feel really good, okay? It's gonna help you. Okay, brain fog and memory lapses. I feel like this is so embarrassing, right? That loss for words. You can't think of what somebody's name was, and all of a sudden you're like, why can't I remember anything? And then people are making fun of you. Do you know 23% of women either, consider quitting their job in their perimenopause years because of the menopause symptom? They feel like they can't perform anymore. 13% actually do it. 13% of women quit. They're like, I'm out, I'm done with this. So if you're feeling this way, you're not alone, there's a reason. Again, we go back to the estrogen. It shields the brain from the effects of oxidative stress and toxicity. And then as these levels decline, our brain function can worsen both in cognition and mental health. So then we couple it with the anxiety, the depression, all of those things, you're feeling really bad. So again, omega-3s, very supportive. Sardines, anyone? Eat flax seeds, chia seeds, just mix it up. Look up foods that are good, high in omega-3s. Hemp hearts are a favorite of mine. I learned them in IHP, okay? I eat them all the time now, I love them. They're great, they're a great vegan protein. That anti-inflammatory diet. Your food, your nutrients are really impactful. We have harder time dealing with bad diet. You can't deal with the bad diet anymore. If you wanna have a, sometime, the weekend or whatever, but man, it adds up. That inflammation adds up because those foods are highly inflammatory. So every time you reach for something inflammatory, you're just making your symptoms worse. So if you're dealing with something that's frustrating that you want it to stop, we gotta almost do the opposite, right? We're tired, we want the cookie, but actually we need to eat the green beans, right? So that's what you gotta think. Flip, we gotta do the exact opposite. All right, we've covered a lot tonight, some holistic approaches. I really hope that you guys have come away with some things that you found really helpful. Is there any questions, anything that you guys have? Yeah, go ahead, Tracy.
What about, so how come some women do like hormone, like their doctors give them hormones, like here's progesterone, and then they say
great question.
Like what's
Okay.
that versus natural things?
I love that question. And I didn't want to get on the topic of HRT tonight because it's a whole nother topic, but I'm glad you brought it up. I was hoping someone would actually ask this question. So hormone replacement therapy can be very wonderful. I encourage every single woman in this room to research it for yourself, okay? Talk to your doctor. The doctor that I mentioned, she's amazing. She can talk you through it. She's covered by insurance. I went there, the office visit was $360. Now I'm self-employed now, so I don't know that my insurance is as great as it used to be when I worked corporately, but I still had to pay $165. So I'm just telling you guys from a cost standpoint because some of these things are cost prohibitive, right? It gets expensive. But she will sit there and talk you through it. Every single person, there are risks that we need to evaluate. Every single person is different. I absolutely encourage everyone to know about hormone replacement therapy. Because we can't supplement our way into more estrogen. We can't supplement our way into more progesterone. Eventually, there's not anything there, right? There's nothing. There's not gonna be anything. So, however, if you can go into the doctor, this is the other thing. This doctor would have wrote me a script that day. She never made me undress, nothing. I just went in there and said, this is what I'm dealing with. And that's it. It's symptom-based. So hormone replacement therapy is symptom-based. They typically will do some blood work to track and see like what your levels are. But ladies, some people I feel like, you know what, if you're really struggling, go talk to a doctor. Yeah, because let me tell you something, when it comes to natural wellness, I love natural wellness, but you gotta be patient. You gotta be consistent, and you gotta give yourself at least 4 months. That's when the cells turn over, okay? So if you start something today, put a marker on your calendar, and don't think about it, and just do it every day. 4 months, and then check in with yourself. That's why I tell people when I work with clients, tell me how you're feeling, write it down right now. And then we're gonna go back to that in 4 months, and we're gonna see how you're feeling, or 3 months, 3 to 4. So, great question. Absolutely, it can be very helpful. It can help with weight, it can help with energy, it can help with mood, sleep, all the things, the hot flashes. 100% partner. That's why I tell people, partner with a doctor that is able to work with what you want to do, that can help you get through life the way you want to get through life in the manner that you want to do it. If you want to do some natural and you want to, now here's what I will say. Hormone replacement therapy isn't going to put muscle on your body. It's not going to make your liver healthier. It's not going to, yes, it could lessen these symptoms, but it's not going to make all of a sudden magically your body be this different thing. So you still have to, that's the other thing. Get a doctor that's going to tell you, I'll write you this, but just know you still need to walk, you need to exercise, you need to muscle strength, you need to still eat a healthy diet. So it's all integrative, right? Like bring it all together, figure out what works for you. So hormone replacement therapy, ladies, there's the one book over there called The Perimenopause. If you haven't read it, if you don't own it, get it. Talks whole section on hormone replacement therapy. Very educational, very educational. So thank you for asking that, Tracy, because I literally was wanting someone to ask that question. But I was like, I'm not even gonna put that in there because I've already got so much. So ladies, you might be thinking right now, after all we've discussed, this is the worst, right? I'm in perimenopause, why did I get born a woman? I've thought that. How can I just be a man and not have to deal with this? So it really can feel like it. Honestly, I felt like I was going crazy. I share that with you, and I'm not exaggerating how low I felt. I mean, looking back, it's hard for me to remember because I feel better now, right? It's hard for me, but I know what I missed out on. I know how low I felt. I know trying to tell my husband, like, I can't do anything and I don't know why. When he's bebopping around feeling great, on some Nutrithins or whatever he's eating, with Reese's peanut butter cups, So men are just different. They basically need one hormone and that's it. And even when they don't have that, they're still fine. I mean, I think they operate on gravel. I don't know what goes through their blood, but it doesn't matter. They're fine, okay? We are so intricate. Anyway, so the good news is, look around. You're not alone. And there's a lot of ways that you can really be vibrant and empower yourself in this chapter of life. I'm proud of each of you guys for coming here tonight. It takes a lot to put ourselves first. It takes a lot to come and listen to something that maybe you don't want to hear, right? You want to hear this stuff. It's like, can I just ignore it? And I'm glad you guys are not ignoring it. You will feel way better by not ignoring it, because you can't, honestly, unless you just are okay with suddenly being in a dark closet in a dark room with your cuddly toys or whatever you got. I don't know. Okay, so we spend, I already said this, we spend most of our life in perimenopause and beyond, right? So this is the time to get this in check. But your life's not over, okay? It's just a time in life to actually take care of yourself. Actually, what I'm encouraging you to do is what we all should have been encouraged to do at 18, at 16, when we got our period. The other issue that women face is no one's tracked their period. I didn't start tracking my period until I was like 36. No, I've never tried to have children. Okay, so let me back up. A lot of women track their cycles because they're trying to have a baby, right? And that's the only time they track it, and then they never track it again, So I've never tracked it. So like 36, I started tracking my cycle. I don't know what's normal. I didn't even know. I just got, I think I'm having my period. I'm feeling kind of crabby. I'm feeling bloated. I'm popping Midol, So that's another challenge, is that we've never checked in with ourselves. We've never known what's going on. So track everything now, okay? Go crazy with it. I use the app Women Log. If you don't have a cycle tracking app, definitely get one. Or just use notes in your phone. But I like to be able to put notes, breakthrough bleeding, really heavy bleeding, light bleeding, no cramps, whatever. Headache, woke up with a headache, headaches. These are all things that we need to know what's going on with us, because then we can honestly see how our lifestyle is stacking up against us. We're creating the life that we're actually creating a life against us, right? We're actually making it worse for ourselves. So, like I said earlier, reboot your life. Set the boundaries. Say the no, say the yes to you, say the yes to the things that will make you feel the best, okay? okay? So if you feel overwhelmed by all this, guys, let me help you out. That's one reason why I got certified as a menopause coaching specialist. It's because I recognize that many of the women that I would be working with would be in this age range. And I realized what a challenge it is. And I wanted to have really good solutions. I didn't want to just be able to tell somebody, well, here, try this and hopefully that works. I wanted to know exactly what could help you. And that's why I did this. So, like I said, reach out to me. You guys got on my, on the stuff I left on your chair, you can book a free consult with me, 30-minute consult. Talk to me, tell me what you're dealing with. See if it works, see if it sounds good to you. Bare minimum, walk away tonight, take that Perimenopause Unlocked course. Okay, bare minimum, do that for yourself. Pick the sections that make sense to you, get that guidebook, download it, start supporting yourself. There's a nutrition tips in there, there's all kinds of stuff in that guidebook. In the course, there's weight management, weight loss plan, workouts, okay, brain fog. There's a lot of content, okay, a lot of downloadables, a lot of things that you'll have access to in there, resources. I put this together so women can take that information and use it for yourself. You don't have to have me, but if you want designated help, if you want an outlined plan, if you want to take the guesswork out, work with me, okay? I set some tests over here too that I do. That's not all of them. If you go to my website, I work on several like I said, perimenopause isn't a test, but having some of the numbers are really important. Your toxicity levels, your stress levels, really helpful. So if you are somebody that likes to know data, let me know. Let's talk, okay? What else was I gonna say? Oh, if you want to learn more, I want you to learn more. I want you to educate yourself. That's gonna be the biggest resource. You are your biggest guinea pig, right? You know exactly what's going on. So you guys, thank you so much for attending tonight. I really appreciate it. Does anyone have any last minute questions before we, yes?
And maybe personal, but have you tried HRT, or are you doing holistic? Or
I have not yet. It is definitely on my radar.
Okay.
I like that. Thank you for asking that. It's definitely something I'm considering at some point.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely. That's one reason why I did meet with the doctor, because there's a lot of information on the market that is hard. It's hard to understand what would be right for you, and that's why I tell each of you, find a doctor that you can actually have a heart-to-heart with, that understands your goals, your values, what you want to achieve, and what you want to go away, right? So make sure whoever you talk to though goes through symptoms and lifestyle. Like, it's more than just the, the hormone replacement therapy. But thank you for asking me that. Yeah, I'm an open book.
are these your supplements?
They're not mine personally, but they're over, you can look at them over there. They're all, I brought those. Yeah, I brought those tonight, absolutely.
Is it a company that you?
Equilife, absolutely. Thank you for asking that. I am partnered with Equilife. That is who my training is through. They're a trusted, so one thing, and I have a thing on there about supplements, they're not FDA, they're not regulated. Okay, so one of the biggest things that we, and Tiffany, you know this in your field, essential oils, anything vitamin, supplement, natural related is not regulated, so that you don't necessarily know what you're getting. And this is a frustration that people have a lot, is that they go to the store and they buy the supplement and they don't get results. And they're getting it can say whatever on the label. You have no idea what's in that capsule. It can be full of heavy metals, toxins, fillers, the amount that you're actually getting and absorbing, and then even is it clean, is it pure, we don't know. So that's why I'm very particular about supplement brands that I personally use. I use these brands. So, but Equilife is third-party tested. That's one thing you want to look for. You don't have to use Equilife, but they're third-party tested, so is Young Living. They go through a more crucial level of testing, and the company does that to show, hey, we have nothing to hide. We want you to benefit. We're not trying to sell 1,000 supplement pack at Costco. And that's why these items will also go out of stock. They're all natural. So they're affected by the crops or whatever happens, right? So, Tiffany, to that note, do you want to talk a little bit about, real quick, about what you have out for everybody, you and your team?
Oh, yes. Go ahead.
But let me say one last thing before we go to you. I just want to say, because I don't want to get away from this, thank you guys so much again for coming tonight. I really appreciate your time tonight. I hope you found value in this. I hope it was validating for you. And I hope you guys take advantage of the things that I've set up for you to take advantage of for free. Tiffany, team, you guys have been amazing. I appreciate your hospitality, and thank you so much for having me. This was such a privilege to be here tonight. I feel very honored to speak to all of you. All right, Tiffany's gonna talk to us a little bit about some of the goodies she has out.
So I was just gonna say, we have some tea over there, some reproductive tea, so if you haven't tried it, you can give it a taste. We did not sweeten it, so if you wanna add honey to it, or we have a hawthorn rose glycerin, you can do so. We also have just some little gifts that we have. So we have a peppermint hydrosol, so if you know